This conference will now be recorded.
Now, guys, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So basically, just want to revise whatever we completed. So we saw some concept called for loop. In that for loop, we will fetch the value from the collection. That collection object can be anything, tuples or anything object can be. And based on that object, we will fetch the data. Suppose here I'm taking one example, and in that I have multiple data, and I can fetch in this collection using that collection name and for in loop. Okay, and I'll display that value using print method. That's it. So when I try to execute this type of program, I need to write abc looping.py. So I'll get my output as 1 to 10. Okay, I'm getting output as 1 to 10. So this is my 1 to 10 output because of this data. If I change something here, suppose I change here 14, and then I save it and again I try to run it. So I'll get, instead of 4 I'll get 14. Whatever we have data here will fetch, and each value will return through for in loop. Okay, this is one thing. Now another thing we have called uh, range concept. Range is a function, predefined function. We have one function we have here. Instead of writing this whole thing, we will do one thing. We will try to use range. What in by range? Range is one concept in that we can display range from particular start and end point. So remember, we have three options here: start, stop, and step, or else directly range. So all optional options are optional. These options, or you can say parameters or arguments, are optional here. You can see these brackets we use here, which is called optional brackets. So let me try to go in detail about this range function. I'll use python key command, and here I'll try range. Instead of writing this range, I'll use help show me detail about range. I don't know about this, so I'll write here like this. So it will display me all range details. So see here we have two types of writing range function. These all types return list of integer number. Remember, list of integer both will return in list of integer numbers, and the range is basically used to display return an arithmetic progression of integers. It will return 1 2 3 4 5 like that. It will return. So if you write for example range 4, so you will get 0 to 3 numbers. This is the main important thing. If you write range 4, you will get 0 to 3 numbers in the return of in list of integer values. So let me try with this example here practically. So I'll go with here range, and I write 3. So what I will get, what would be the output my here, whatever output I stored in this x. So when I try to display x, I'll get 0 1 and 2 because I written here 3. So when you return 3, so it will generate a list of 0 to 3 numbers, 1 2 and 0 1 and 2. That means list of number is 3. So this is one type of usage of range. Another usage is like this. So first of all, we'll go in first in detail about first range type, then we'll go in detail later other types. Okay, so let me try with this thing in detail about again. So stop is basically your point where you want to stop, and by default default is to 0. Remember, default is 0. So first it start with 0, and whenever you want to finish it, you can finish it with this count number. So this stop is basically a count number. So here I'm writing 3. That means I'll start with 0 and I'll go with 1 2. How many elements I will achieve? Number of elements, 3 elements I will achieve here. So here I'll get 3 elements. And another thing is what, we can go with this start and then stop and then step. This is three parameters we have, remember. So we can write a range in 3 different values. I'll show you how. First of all, I'll use this symbol to make it comment. Here range we can use for different ways. Number one, we can use range with stop point. Stop point. You can write a stop and you will get list of integer number, integer values, list integer values. Okay, so this one we have one option. So suppose I'll write here range of 3. So what I'll get, what would be the output? 0 comma 1 comma 2. This type of output we'll get. Now instead of writing this thing, if I write range, list of integers, whatever result, always list of integer, range of start point, I will specify. I'll specify start point is 1 and count point. This is called start point. Remember, start point and number of column means where you want to finish it. Stop point. So I'll say 10, 1, 10. So let me check with this output. If I write like this, range and then 1 comma 10. So what will be output? Is 1 to 9. Why? Remember, it is start always with 0. It always start with 0, but what do you want to show you? It will show you only, we want to show only 1. So that's why here it is start with 1. But number of elements, how many elements it take? Usually it takes 10 elements, but we said 1. So it will start with 1 and it will display till 9. So instead of writing this, if I write here, suppose 5, what would be the output? Guys, help me. Hmm?
It's
Jagdish?
5 to 10, 5 to 9.
Huh? Okay. So let's me try 5 to 9, right? Why? Because it start with 0, but it will display from 5. It will start with 0. That's why number of element is 0 to 9, and here it will display from 5. So it will display you from where you want. Okay. So if you write 1 to 10, so it will display you this type of output. Remember, this is important thing. So what we learn, there are few ways to write range. Using range you can write 1 comma 10 and then some values, and that value can be like this. Now another way to write a range method is, another way to write a range method is basically range, and then here we can specify step as well. What in by step, I will show you. First of all, before going into detail, first of all we'll see what in by step first. Okay, so I'll go with range and then I'll write 1 to 20 suppose, or 50. So it will give me all data from 1 to 50, 49. Okay, I want from 1 to 50, so I will get 1 to 50, 51. So this is my data. Now what I want, actually I don't want to display all elements here. Whatever I have element here, I don't want to display all elements. Instead of that, I want to display only 5, then 10, then 15, like that. So the difference between all elements, so it should be 5. So what I will write here, instead of writing this, I'll write step as 5. So when I write step as 5 and I start with 0, if I start with 0, it will display me 0, 5, 10, 15 till 50. So this is the output for our program. So you can, instead of writing this, you can write 5. Why 5? Because we don't want to display 0. So you will get 5 stable. Using range, you can specify step. What in by step? Step is basically increment or decrement value. So when you write this 5, that means how many elements you want to jump. How many elements you want to jump. Here we not written anything, so by default it is 1. So each time it will increase by 1. Where if you return something, like here I return 5, so it will increase by 5. 1, then directly 6. No 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, directly 11. No 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this stuff and this thing is very important, remember. So when you try to display this type of value, so last element, your last element, whatever you have last element, it should display you like this format. It will display you 5 to 10 table. 5 to 50 table. This output will be displayed. So we need to remember this thing, and based on these values, we can do some operation on it. Like example, I can perform some operations like a list and some value. Like directly, list is basically a function, and in that, if I return like this, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and then close bracket. So what would be the output? Guys, help me. What would be the output here in this case, Jagdish?
Yeah, it will list 1 to 5.
Right. It will list you 1 to 5. And instead of writing this thing, if I return directly this bracket without this list function, so tuple 1 to 5. Remember, this is called tuple. How we found out tuple? Using type. We can find out what is the type of this member. So it is basically tuple. So why? Because we return this thing. And list is a method which help us to convert anything into list. So here 1 to 5 is in a tuple. Now we can try to convert this tuple into list. So that's why we are getting 1 to 5 in a list form. Getting my point, Chaitanya?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very important. Remember, guys. Now based on these values, we can convert any value. Like here also we can convert. So the output of range also we can convert into tuple, range of 10. So instead of returning the number in a list format, so we can get the tuple format data also. So this is also possible. So we usually use to convert this method. So this is called conversion method of collection object. So this collection object is very important. We need to remember this type of objects. So let me try with this some examples. I'll write here some values, like I'll write here genre, and or suppose data equal to some value, music type. Suppose I'll write here pop, pop, rock, and then some values like jazz, jazz. Okay, so this is my data. Now I'll write here I in range of length of jazz data. Okay, colon is very important. Remember, colon is very important, and here I'll try to display the value using I like comma data of I, whatever the value of I. So what would be the output, guys? In this case, what would be the output? This type of questions
0 to
they
9.
match in India.
I like 0 to 9, something like that.
uh See,
Data of
first is
It
I.
will give
data
the
of
length.
I. Sorry,
It will
it
give
will.
the length, right? Length of data, whatever pop, rock, judge.
Yes. No. Based on data, it will try to find out the element values. So that much elements it will display. So here, consider this is 3. So 3 will come here, and it will display number of element as 3. In this case, rock is basically 4 character. So based on that 4 character, it will display 4 times. So it will display you like this output. So this is also something different functionality of range. With the help of range, you can do some operations. But in case of this, if you write len and data, so what would be the output? You will get 3.
Yeah.
See here, you'll get 3. But if you write this length and range of 3, whatever the result of this len data, so you will get 0 1 2. So instead of writing data of 0, so what you will get is this value, data of 1. Getting my point?
Yeah.
So how many elements
Yes.
is there? Based on that it will display. So we are trying to calculate the length of a collection object. What type of collection object? It is a list of collection object. So this list of collection object, we try to find out the length, how many elements they store in that list. So we can find out with using this method. Even though we can use for loop with this data. What is data? Data contain these values, right? So instead of writing this for I in data colon, and then I'll try to display this value directly value. So you can write a range, or you can use a collection object, anything you can use here. This is very important. You need to remember this, because they will ask you in interview this type of questions. So we should know what is the meaning of this range. Now there is one thing special. We can try to reduce the overlooping headache. Suppose I'll use range of, I'll use x equal to range of 5 comma 51 comma 5. So what would be the output? 5 table, right? Now instead of writing this, I don't want to display 30. I want to display all values. Only 30 I don't want to display. So you can skip this value using continuous statement. How? Let me try one simple program for I in x colon enter, and here I'll write if I is equal to 30. If the value of I is 30, then don't display this value. Why? We need continue it, otherwise else display, oh sorry, we need to write else colon. So instead of writing this type of program here, I'll write here. It would be good for us also. So here consider we have this data. So what happened here? Can you tell me, guys? X I in x. So it will try to fetch one by one each value from that variable, and I'll try to display if I is not equal to 30 or equal to 30. Okay, I'll try like this program. I is equal to 30. If this value comes, then make it continue. Okay, else don't continue, and just print the value of I. That's it, and I'll close this program. Now what would be the output of this program? I'll get all values only except 30. Huh. Python looping.py. So what is looping.py? Is a program file name, and I'll get all values except 30. So 30 value I'll not get. Why? Because I return continue. What in by continue? Each time it will iterate the value, and when it sees this condition is true, it will continue this statement and directly jump to next statement. So what is next statement? 35. So 35 it will fetch, and it will try to display that value. So it will skip that value using continue. And instead of writing this, if I just want to display I just want to display 1 to only 25, 5 to 25. So what I will do, instead of writing this thing, I'll use break. Remember, break is one another condition concept which will help us to get the data only that much of elements. So let me try one example here. When I try to run this program, I'll get only 5 to 25. Why? Because these values only it will display using break. Break will skip or directly terminate the iteration part. Remember, what is the purpose of break? Break basically terminate loops, terminate loop, whereas continue it is skip loop. So they will ask you in interview this type of question: what is different between continue and break? What is the difference between continue and break? Continue is keep existing current iteration. You can say skip current iteration from loop. That loop, you whatever you have from that loop, it will skip your current iteration. Iteration means one by one each time when we execute. So it will execute that iteration, and it will terminate your loop. From whenever you find out break, it will terminate all thing, and it will directly jump to out of the loop. So it will directly jump to out of the loop, remember. So this is very important. So what we saw, there are a few things we see. The range, for loop, and another thing is what, range, different parameter single value, double value, and triple value of range, and continue and break. These are the statement parts which will help us to write up programs in easily. Now let me try to go with in detail about comprehension. Comprehension is very important for us. So with the help of this comprehension, we can perform any operations which will give you directly result. Like example, I'll go with more detail about lambda. Now what do you mean by lambda? Lambda is a anonymous function, remember. Let me skip this part. Breaking, continue. This one also. Here I'll try to write simple lambda function. Okay, so with the help of lambda, we can write a code which will give you result in particular format only. So here, if I try to use, instead of writing this whole program, I'll use what, I'll try to display the value like lambda. I'll write before lambda, what we need to do, we need to write a function. Remember, function is like this. You need to specify some value, and based on that value you can display that value. And here you need to call that function, and you specify some value. That's it. So this is, you need to specify it. Now we'll try here same program, looping, will get 10. So to display 10, you need to write that much of code. So to reduce this type of complexity, we use function. And to reduce, if your program is very small, if your function is very small, so that time you can use lambda instead of writing a function. Function, we need to specify many things inside there, and with the help of function, we can write multiple line of code. But if it is a small function, we can use lambda. So what is lambda? I'll try to give you definition of lambda. Lambda is a short code function, or you can say anonymous function, anonymous function, or function with no name. This is called lambda, and you can write a short code. So let me try with simple program here. First of all, we'll go with simple program. So I'll go with this Python terminal, and here I will write simple program. So how we will write lambda function? You can write a lambda function f1, any name you can specify, and then lambda keyword, and then value, and then colon, and another value. That's it. So what in by this thing, f1 can accept any value here, and it will return some values. So I'll try to display 20, I'll get 10. This is called lambda. What in by lambda? Lambda same value. So I'll return x plus x multiply by 2. So f1, whatever I will specify value here, I'll get opposite of that value, means multiply by 2. If I specify 10, I'll get 20. So this type of value will, we can use through lambda. So what is lambda here? Lambda is basically a keyword here, and this x is an argument of that function. Like here, what is the argument here in this function? A is an argument, whatever we are passing. uh, so this is called function calling, remember. This is called function calling, and this is called function definition. uh, this is called function calling. This is basically, this is the our function calling, function calling. and this is your function definition. Function definition. What in by function definition? In definition, you need to specify in detail about your function. Whereas in function calling, you need to display only specify the value what you want to pass. So whatever you pass here, 10, it will goes to this variable. So 10 will goes here and you can display that value. So same thing if you want to perform in lambda, you will use this type of code. So here whatever I'll pass here, it will goes to this x, and this x will return x multiplied by 2. So x multiplied by 2, whatever the value of x here is 20 in this case, so we'll get 40. So when you write f1 and then pass that value, you'll get 40. Whatever you specify here, if you write 50, you'll get 100. Getting my point? Or any doubt, any question here, guys? Jagdish, Tanya?
No, good.
Oh,
For the first function, right, f1 equal to lambda x colon 10. Okay. If we are,
Hmm.
I did not get that. To the down, I am getting because like x is a value, something 20 you are giving 20. So 20 into 2 is 40. But what is this
Right.
x colon 10? Why if 20 is written, 10 is coming?
So here is static value we are trying to return. So if whatever I return here, whatever I'll write here, welcome. Suppose
Hmm.
I'll write here welcome. So same output I will get always. So even I return any value, I'll get welcome. So that means
Oh,
this
okay.
is the
Okay.
return
Okay.
value.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Return.
Okay.
Okay. And if
Hmm.
it is a little bit complex, let me know, guys. I don't want to make confusion. So it's very good if you are asking me. It's very interesting thing, because if you are asking me, so then only I'll understand how much you are getting my points. So you can ask me how much you can, and this is the thing where you can return the data.
Got it.
So this is called return, and this is called argument. So this is very important. These three parts are there. So how many parts are there in lambda? Three parts are there, remember. One is return value, whatever you want to return, return function name equal to, and then lambda keyword, this, and then argument. It can be one or multiple, then colon keyword, colon, and then return type, return value. So whatever you return here, it will, when you call this lambda, like if you call return function name, whatever you specify here, return function name, and then bracket open, and whatever you pass, that is called arguments, argument value. You will pass argument value, and the value always it returns is return value. So it will always return value. So here you will pass argument value. So this argument value goes to this argument. Okay. So consider another example I will take here with same scenario. Let me try with some another example which will be good for us. uh, Suppose here I'll try to write a program with some method like x. Hmm. Hmm. So lambda or f1 or f2, any name you can write here, but it should not be reserved. Lambda and then x colon x plus 1, comma, comma, range 5, comma 51, comma 5. That's it. So if I write here f1, f2, and then I'll pass some value 5. Oh, sorry, because it is tuple, so it's not callable. So here it is returning multiple values. Remember, it is trying to return multiple values. So instead of writing this type of program, I'll write simple program. So here I'll use x, comma, x plus 1. X is not defined. multiple values it is not possible. Yes, sorry, because this require mapping part also. Let me try one other simple example. Mapping part. So how we will write mapping? List of map function we require, because there are two arguments, right? So we need to specify two arguments values. So lambda x colon x plus 1. So this is one value, remember, this is complete one value, and another value is range of 5 comma 51 comma 5. So what in by this thing, guys? Tell me what in by this thing. So that means this map, remember what in by map? Map is a function which take the left hand side process. This is called process, and right hand side called data. So this is data. It will take data from right hand side and it will give it to left hand side process, and it will generate the result. So let me try to run this program. I'll what is bracket, open close bracket, how many brackets? One, two. I forget to close another bracket. Yes. Now this is my output. Why this is my output? Because here map will return two things. Remember, I'll go in detail about map. Map is a function. Here you need to write a function, or you can say process. Any process you can write here. I'm trying to increase one value from that data. So here range, what is the meaning of this? We already saw. 5 table, right? So whenever you pass each value one by one, so x, it will store into x, and x plus 1 will return. So that value will return. So map will return that value with increment by 1. So if we have 5 in this range, first value here will get 5, right? So if you try this program, range of 5 comma 51 comma 5. So here we'll get 5 to 10, 50. 5 to 50 we'll get, right? Now here what I'm trying to do, whatever the value I'm getting, I'll try to pass this value and increment by 1. So what is the result? Result is 6, 10, instead of 10, 11. Like instead of 50, we are getting 51. Like that we are getting. So this is important part. You are getting my point? Any doubt? Any question, guys? Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
good.
yeah, good.
Okay, so like this we can pass, or also we can use f3 or any function name f3 lambda, and then we can pass multiple value. Like here I'm passing multiple value. So I'll do one thing. I'll say x plus y plus z is equal to whatever the result. So f3, if I pass whatever the value I'll pass here, 10 comma 20 comma 30, so I'll get 60. Directly result as 60. So this is the main thing. Remember, this is the main thing. 10, 20, 30 is result. So you'll get result as 30, 60. Why? Because we are passing here three arguments. So we should need to pass three arguments here. We are passing here three arguments, right? So we need to pass three argument here. And whatever the value we are getting here, we are trying to perform some calculation, x plus y plus z. So these values we are trying to get the result, same result. So this is very very important. We need to remember this type of data. So it's only common sense. Only whatever the value we pass in 10, so it will store into x. Whatever the value of we pass here 20, y, then 30, z. Like that we are getting. Okay. Any question, any doubt here?
The lambda function, it works both versions, like 2.7 and 3 plus
Yes,
3 plus.
yes, yes, yes. It works in all versions.
But I never see like using lambda in our codes when we like when they use the lambda functions. Like you
We
said, like
use
short code, right? But other than that, like, is there any? useful? Like, oh, okay, you have to use this time, or you have to use only when this logic comes, something like that.
The basically lambda function we use for if we don't have any that large amount of code. If we don't have large amount of code, that means if we have some values, like here we have some values, and we are performing some operations like power operations or root equations or like that. So that time we use this lambda operations. There are two ways, two reasons we are using lambda. One is shortcut, because we don't want to give means they want to make some standard code. The code is written
Okay.
in different format. And another is by using lambda we can perform short code, and we can write short written part. Written, if we have written part is in a form of short code, so then only we use lambda.
Okay.
Only then time we use lambda.
Yeah.
And Jagdish, any question?
I know.
Okay. And so I think that that's it for today. For tomorrow onwards, we will go in detail about other stuff also. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Mujahid, like you told that you'll be doing in some IDE, right, and stuff like
Yes.
the
Yes.
terminal. So
Yes.
yeah,
I will definitely.
it's a
Uh,
PyCharm, right? You told to download this PyCharm, right?
right. Right. And even you
Yeah.
can guys also can share your screen, and you can show me if you have any issues like difficulties while installing or getting some issues. So you can share with me, no problem. Because this is I want as an interactive session. So whatever you have, you can share with me. This is my problem, and what is the solution for that. So, or else
Mhm.
personally you can tell me, no problem for that. But definitely you guys, you try to do these things, and I'll definitely I installed my PyCharm software. But the problem is what I want to configure as per our requirement. So first of all I'll configure it, and whatever the steps are there, I will try to take one server, EC2 instance, and in that I will try to install and configure in front of you how many steps we require. So
Yeah.
today I'll do it because I installed in my system, but I want in fresh system. So it would be good for you guys also.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And Chaitanya, what are you doing nowadays? Means your job profile?
Actually, now I have been working in, DevOps or area only. Like until now, I've been working in VAS and TIPCO related DevOps um,
Okay,
candidate
okay.
in my company. But yeah, but I have never written this any of this shell and Python scripts, Mujahid.
So
Because like whatever until now, whatever I got the chance in my area is just to do a manual deployment and some basic stuff basically.
okay, okay. Okay,
Mhm.
no problem. So I'll try to add one session for you guys, especially for those they are from operation team side. What about Jagdish?
Mhm.
Uh, I'm actually from data warehousing side. I use like ETL, and now I'm doing mainly. Now I'm ingesting the mainframe files. So usually I'll write the Python scripts for mainframe
Oh, great.
files to extract. So
Uh-huh. That would be great. Yes, yes. So I'll try to add one sample lambda function for you guys to
okay,
understand you one advanced concept which is not written. But I'll
yeah,
not commit it this first. First, I'll try to finish our whatever we committed. Then we will go in detail about that advanced thing. Okay?
okay, no problem.
Oh,
And also
okay.
like a file system related, like getting the file input
Definitely.
and the file. I mean, yeah, that is still like we're gonna get in the later stages. I mean, inputting a file.
We will go in detail about file also, because I remember
Okay.
this is very important in operation team, because they are performing all things based on files. So definitely
Yeah,
I'll
yes,
go in
correct.
detail
Yeah.
about file. Yes. Or else
Mhm.
after this session we can after one session there is one session called functions. After function we can go in detail about file. So it would be good for you guys also about after
Yeah.
function. So after function, I'll try to go with file. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you guys. We will meet tomorrow sharp. So,
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhur.